Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for June 16, 2025, the Golden Share Edition. And we begin with that story as Nippon Steel, the U.S. Steel in the U.S. agreed to allow Nippon Steel to invest in U.S. Steel, but the U.S. government now has a golden share, which gives the government an extraordinary amount of influence over the company. New details of the structure show President Trump and his successors have a permanent stake in U.S. Steel, a significant sway over its board, and veto power over a wide range of company actions, an arrangement that could change the nature of foreign investments in the United States. So Trump will control U.S. Steel, and indeed the U.S. government will. Wonder what that will mean. Next up, we've had a lot of honorifics and honors in compliance, but we have had our first beatification. And yes, as reported by the AP, the Vatican on Sunday beatified a Congolese customs worker who was killed for resisting a bribe, giving young people in a place with endemic corruption a new model of holiness, someone who refused to allow spoiled rice to be distributed to poor people. The head of the Vatican saint-making office presided over the beatification ceremony, and the beatification has brought joy to Goma at a time of anguish with the violent fighting between government forces and Rwandan-backed M23 rebels. So, first beatification for anti-corruption. Well done. Next up, Mike Madigan. Remember Mike Madigan, the once powerful Illinois Speaker of the House of Representatives? Well, he was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison and a $2.5 million fine for his role in a bribery scheme born of the old Chicago political machine, which traded government access and contracts for jobs and favors. He was convicted earlier this year in federal court, and he addressed the court, but the court nevertheless not only upheld the verdict, but sentenced him to 7.5 years. The court said, you lied and you sat here and you exercised your right to take you could have exercised your right to take silence, but you took the stand and you lied. So Madigan's 83, so that effectively means he will spend the rest of his life in prison. And our final story comes from Reuters, which are takeaways for healthcare companies on the DOJ's corporate whistleblower pilot program. It talks about the focus of the DOJ on healthcare fraud and what companies need to do to prevent employees from filing FCA claims, not FCPA, but FCA claims. But the strategies companies should use are things compliance officers have been doing all along. Obviously, you have to have a hotline and a culture of speak up, but you have to have a culture of listen up, and you have to have a culture where people feel safe and trust that they will not be retaliated against, they will not be shunned, and their reports will be taken seriously. So still we have 90% of all whistleblowers self-report. I hope companies get the message. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.